The world now sees the bitter fruit of the impunity afforded to Israel. This was a tragedy foretold.
La relatora de la ONU para los territorios palestinos, Francesca Albanese, señaló directamente a la comunidad internacional por permitir con su inacción e incluso apoyando los actos de genocidio que Israel está cometiendo en Gaza, parte de su plan para librarse de los palestinos. Por ello, urgió a que se imponga un embargo de armas y sanciones a Israel. El informe presentado por Albanese constata que hay evidencias suficientes para concluir que Israel está cometiendo actos genocidas en Gaza, los cuales fueron precedidos por declaraciones de intención genocida por parte de altos funcionarios militares y gubernamentales.
Israel has used their protective function as humanitarian camouflage, with the effect of concealing patterns of conduct from which the only inference can reasonably be drawn is a state policy of genocidal violence against the Palestinians, blurring the distinction between protected civilians or civilian infrastructure and combatants or legitimate military targets. Israel has effectively characterized the whole civilian population in Gaza as human shields or terrorist accomplices as a matter of legal policy. Those who managed to evacuate to areas that Israel defined as safe humanitarian zones have been met with further attacks, their deaths and injuries justified as collateral damage. By making repeated claims which have been systematically discredited that Hamas used hospitals as operation centers, Israel appears to be operating on the premise that if you tell a lie long enough, people will believe it. Israel has used the camouflage of humanitarian law to characterize the entire Palestinian people and life-sustaining and life-saving infrastructure of Gaza as targetable, killable, destroyable. Israel has attempted to legitimize, for example, the devastations of Gaza's medical infrastructure, which has led to potentially thousands of additional deaths, life-changing injuries and trauma. In light of this, I find that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the threshold indicating the commission of the crime of genocide against Palestinians as a group in Gaza has been met. Specifically, Israel has committed 3 acts of genocide with the requisite intent: causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, and imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group. The genocide in Gaza is the most extreme stage of a long-standing settler colonial process of erasure of the native Palestinians. For over 76 years, this process has oppressed the Palestinians as a people in every way imaginable. The colonial amnesia of the West has condoned Israel's colonial settler project from the violent history of the very birth of the State of Israel. The world now sees the bitter fruit of the impunity afforded to Israel. This was a tragedy foretold. The time for states to act was then, and as they did not, the time is now. In this darkest hour, the international community cannot continue to ignore that it's Israel's project to rid Palestine of Palestinians in defiance of international law and the world's failure to call Israel to account that has led to genocide laid bare in Gaza. Denial of the reality and the continuation of Israel's impunity and exceptionalism is no longer viable. I implore member states to abide by their obligations, which start with imposing an arms embargo and sanctions on Israel, and so ensure that the future does not continue to repeat itself. Thank you.
I now give the floor to